Hey friends, let's get straight into the 18th gene key. We have just left this transiting gene key, and it is a very personal key for me. Let me check and make sure we've got audio where we want it. We do. Okay, great. It is my pearl. I have the 18.2 as my pearl, and my mother has the 18.2 as her life's work. Her conscious son is in that 18.2. So yes, she just celebrated a birthday. I'm very grateful for that beautiful, beautiful soul bringing my soul through. Thank you, Mom. Love you so much. A human angel. And it's been such a remarkable, interesting journey having this 18.2 as my pearl and her having it as her life's work on the exact line. So it's really a deep key for us and our maternal line. And it's an energy we've been in, as I've mentioned, as a collective. So see if you have it in your chart. Go run your chart on genekeys.com. If you do the beta testing, there's a really cool, fun, interactive chart that has some really nice content written with it that I would suggest you check out. But we're going to go over the 18 as well. So you can just see and feel how this resonates for you without having to do your chart. You will usually pick up on awarenesses of, oh, I have that. Oh, yeah, I resonate with that. And that's kind of cool too, before you even check your chart to see if you just sense and feel a connection to this key. So I'm going to be reading from the Gene Key Bible and by Richard Rudd, and we will be covering the 18th from the shadow of judgment to the gift of integrity to the city of perfection. The 18 is a Libra key, as you can imagine. We're in Libra season right now, if you're listening to this within the time that I'm recording it. And it comes off of the spleen for my human design nerds. So immediately you already know it connects to the immune system. These are the fear gates, the intuition gates. The 18 is a really interesting gate that plugs into the channel that recognizes what has been spoiled. And so you can already start to get clues and indicators of how this perfection piece ties in. And that's a little bit of human design languaging, but we'll weave it together with the gene keys now. So we'll start with the shadow. And it says, the shadow of judgment, the victim mind. And it says the 18th shadow gives rise to a collective phenomena in the world known as the victim mind. The victim mind is a conglomeration of all undermining, judgmental thought patterns throughout the world. If you sincerely examine your thoughts during a typical day, you will probably discover that a great percentage of your thinking is affected by the victim mind. In other words, you are allowing your mind to be influenced by the collective negative thought patterns of the whole of humanity. The true import of this last statement can come as a huge shock to many people. The world of the victim mind is an inner world of gossip, complaining, and worrying. Which reminds me of a beautiful quote that I quote, more of a meme that I saw yesterday. And I'll read it to you now. Give me 1 minute. 1 second. Uh, oh, where are you? This is clearly my YouTube channel, and I'll do what I want on it because I don't think this is very professional. Me scrolling on my phone trying to find something. Hmm. I'm not seeing it. Essentially, it said worrying is such a cosmic misuse of your imagination. And furthermore, it's a misuse of your creativity. So you have all this beautiful, magical creativity and imagination in your body, and you choose to, instead of create with it and make art with it, and dream and vision and fantasize with it, if you use it to worry and manifest it as anxiety, it's a supreme misunderstanding of a gift that was given to you. Yeah, it's a complete. Yeah, that has really stuck with me so much. I posted it on my Instagram, so you can go check it out, the exact quote. Let's continue on with judgment. This 18th shadow is about needing to be right. It takes a loosening and a lightening of your identity to let go of your need to be right. If this gene key is a part of your hologenetic profile, then the most important question to ask yourself is, would I rather be right or happy? What is so fascinating about the 18th shadow is that the details of the judgments themselves are utterly irrelevant. It doesn't matter what your political views are or how much you might detest or disapprove of someone. The only thing that matters is how seriously you take your own judgments. If your identity rests on your judgments, then everywhere you go, you will stir people up negatively. Not through your opinions, but through the turbulent frequency you put out into your environment. Even if your judgment feels positive to you, the chances are it will still be missed by others just because you hold it so tightly. The themes of both the 17th and the 18th, the 17th is the programming partner of the 18th, shadows can also become easily obsessed with details. The victim mind can fixate on the tiniest and most irrelevant details in life. At a low frequency, these are the kinds of minds that blow things far out of proportion, espousing opinions that are actually far removed from the facts. As an aspect of the codon ring of matter, the 18th gene key is part of a genetic chain of low-frequency fears buried in the human genome. These fears lie deep within the body's immune system and create the matrix for all human initiation into higher states. It is precisely your passage through these fears that allows you to gain access to the higher levels of frequency and realization. It is through the cluster of gene keys within this codon that spirit first penetrates into the world of matter and releases its true radiance. In this inner world, the 18th shadow governs the integrity of your mental body, your mind. The secret of this shadow is the gradual realization that your outer life is your greater body. The more deeply you accept responsibility for this, the less personally you take life and the easier it becomes. The 18th shadow is thus a place inside your DNA that causes you to become mentally detached to the material world and all its distractions, which in the long run only serves to increase your suffering. However, as you escape the victim mind, you begin to alter the coding structure of this aspect of your DNA, thereby attracting a higher energetic frequency stream into your life and changing everything for the better. Yes, please. So, as you know, the shadow can be broken up into two different states in repressive or reactive. So, in the repressive nature, we have inferiority. The repressive side of the 18th shadow is about feeling inferior. This pattern first develops through our relationship with our parents, particularly during our teen years. If our parents judge us too harshly during these formative years, a pattern of self-judgment sets in. If you are one of these people, then your pattern is to turn judgment in on yourself. Out of your own self-judgment, you become a conformist, going along with the majority instead of standing up for yourself and your own convictions. All judgment is based on comparison, and with self-judgment, you compare yourself unfavorably to someone who you consider to be above you. This in turn gives rise to a deep-seated feeling of inferiority and a constant habit of undermining yourself. Now, reactive nature, superiority. The reactive side of the 18th shadow manifests as the judgment of others based on feeling superior. This judgment emerges as the constant need to challenge any authority figure, beginning with the parents. In the process of challenging one's parents, if the process of challenging one's parents is not permitted, a natural resolution, this behavior pattern becomes a permanent part of one's character. It occurs when our parents do not maintain strong enough boundaries around us and instead fall victim to their own self-judgments. The urge to challenge then becomes cemented by an unconscious anger in the child that the parents were not strong enough to maintain their integrity. This translates in the teen's life to deep disrespect of authority and a belief that one is somehow above it. These are volatile people whose very identity is then built around the undermining of others. Whew. Deep breath after the shadow. it's a deep one. Matcha break. Okay, so let's get into integrity. And I love this word. Uh, it is my pearl. It is a code. And I'll give you a quick story for me, how deep this code is. My grandfather owned a hotel in town. And as a little girl, I would go and eat breakfast with him, specifically breakfast. We started the day together, and there's a restaurant attached to the hotel. So we would go and sit in the restaurant. We would eat together. And I remember there was one particular day, everything was flowing along as normal. I'm chatting, he's drinking his coffee, we're eating our eggs and bacon and sausage and all the good things. And he gets the bill. And I suppose he may have said it, or I may have glanced and noticed it. I don't know which it was. I would have been early, preteen age. And he said, "Oh, they left out the coffee and the side of bacon." And I remember saying, "Well, yay, free bacon for us, free coffee for us." And he said, "Christina, one thing you need to learn about life is that your pop-up's word, my integrity, is not for sale for $2.99 and $1.99, $4, whatever it might be. It's not for sale for that. It's much more expensive than that." And so he called the waitress over and asked her to add it on and paid the bill. And I remember thinking, what the heck, man? Like, that was a gift from spirit. That was like, it was her fault. She left it out. She took our order. Why didn't she type it in correctly? Now you have to pay for it? Like, it just was so hard for my kid brain to wrap around. And there was several similar instances like that where he role modeled that behavior for me and that languaging for me. And he always took the time to tell me why he did what he did. And I really, really appreciated that. And it really stuck with me. And I think of it often now. With my ex-partner, I was buying water for the office in Whole Foods, and there's a spout for the alkaline pH, bougie water, and then there's a spout for the just purified water. And it's about a 75-cent per gallon difference. So I get the bougie water for the office. I like it. I prefer it. I like that our guests get to have it. And we get up to, with our big 5 gallon and all our groceries, and we get up to the counter, and he goes, "Okay, did you have the alkaline, or was it just the natural spring water, the cashier?" And I said, "Oh, it's the alkaline." And he types it in, and my total's like, I don't know, $5, something like that for the 5 gallon bottle of water. And and I can feel my ex like cringe, when I said that, because we had had many instances around this integrity piece before. And as we got out in the parking lot, he was genuinely upset with me and was like, "Why are you so stupid and honest like that? You dumb Americans. Why do you go and just be so honest when you don't need to be? You just tell people all these things you don't have to tell them. Like, you could have just told them it was purified water." And I remember stopping the car and midway to the car and saying, "And what? Sell my integrity for $2? And every single client that drinks this water is going to be drinking stolen water while we're doing healing sessions on them? And then I have to know that I'm that cheap, my integrity, my honesty." He asked me a question. I had the opportunity to be honest or lie to save $2. And my ex didn't get that. And that was a really beautiful gift as well, for me to recognize this is not someone that I can trust, because their integrity is for sale for 55 cents. And so that was a really interesting thing for me to learn about someone. And now it's a code of ethics for me. Something I hold myself to, and I recognize in others. And it says a lot. It really says a lot about someone. And then, of course, we want to take that integrity piece and apply it to things where it might cost you $500. It may cost you $1,000. It may cost you a friendship. It may cost you a partner. When you're in your integrity, when you're honest, is it still worth it to you? Is that cost of exchanging your soul, lying, worth it to you to keep that thing? And by the way, you won't keep that thing forever. It won't be too long until you have to lie again and then lie again. And that's why they say you need a good memory if you're going to be a liar. Okay, that's my sermon on integrity, but let's get into what Richard says about integrity. Integrity as a vibration means far more than just holding fast to your values. It is actually a word often used by architects and engineers to describe the strength of material structures. Integrity is a deeply physical attribute that is actually a function of your immune system in maintaining the tensile strength within your body. For many people who have to resolve issues from their teenage cycle, it will take a full 7 years. Whether through therapy, body work, or some other sustained system that targets your conditioning. Integrity is born into the human vehicle, but it has to be earned. Also, whether during teen years or later on in life, when a person has attained the gift of integrity or grown into it through a healthy passage into adulthood, it will remain forever because it is the true nature of every human being. One of the greatest opportunities of the 64 gene keys is afforded to parents. If you can see the higher frequency of your child from the moment of birth, and if you can continually hold that frequency for them through thick and thin, you will see a living miracle growing before your eyes. To uphold integrity, you have to be courageous. You have to challenge anything and anyone who does not meet your high standards. To live with integrity is to take on the whole world, to challenge it to meet the high standards you are setting. Wherever you see someone living with integrity, you are seeing someone using the power of judgment in an objective and impersonal way. This is the great gift of the 18th gene key, not to use or take judgment personally, but to learn to judge from your heart. Judging from the heart can never be cruel because true integrity has only one purpose: to serve the whole in the spirit of truth and compassion. That can make me want to cry. I also forgot to highlight that, and I'm going to highlight that because I love that. Now, let's move into the siddhi, perfection. Just as the 18th gift completes our journey from childhood to adulthood, the 18th siddhi shows us how to heal our mental anguish and assume our true place in the universe as whole adults. It does this through tireless, compassionate service to the vision of perfection. Perfection is the highest vision a human being can aim for, and you do begin to aim for this highest of ideals, not for yourself, but for the sake of the world. At this level, you are using the archetype of judgment to challenge the fabric of reality itself. The higher levels are infinite and therefore seem impossible to attain, but like a Zen koan that cannot be solved by the mind, if you keep aiming for perfection, it will eventually blossom within you as a natural state. You will pass beyond the very definition of perfection. When you realize perfection, evolution ends. But the 18th siddhi is the source of the tradition of the Bodhisattva vow. The Bodhisattva is a being who forges their higher state of consciousness and forgoes it in order to stay in the world and help others attain that state of higher consciousness. This tradition holds a deeply metaphoric genetic truth. Our genes are all bodhisattvas, programmed to serve the whole until it has attained perfection. When we see the 18th gene key is designed to ensure human health by constantly changing and challenging our environment to come in line with human principles that are higher. What then is perfect health? This is an interesting question because it involves the whole creation. The true physical health of a humanity cannot be attained until all human wounds have been healed. The 18th siddhi is not often seen in the world today. It involves the incarnation of an archetype of perfection. Such people are tireless in the service they give to humanity. Paradoxically, they know through personal spiritual experience that the world is perfect exactly as it is. There is nothing about the world that need to be improved, yet they are driven by this archetype of perfection to keep tirelessly improving both themselves and the world until the day they die. All beings within the Siddhic state share this dilemma of having completed their inner evolution, yet find themselves still living in this world. The physical vehicle completely changes its programming after entering the highest Siddhic state of enlightenment. If the 18th siddhi is activated within your hologenetic profile, then you will continue to lead humanity towards perfection in any and every way you can conceive of. Often, such people are called saints. Perfection only exists within the timeless realm. It is beyond time and space because it is the end of evolution. The Bodhisattva gene keys keep returning to our planet as individual human beings whose sole purpose is to build this collective vision of perfection on the material plane. All human beings are involved in this great dance, whether we are aware of it or not. We are all moving towards the single dream of a species that will one day attain perfection and reach the end of its story. As we will all one day see, the end of the story also happens to be the beginning of our universal life. It was perfection to be studying under Richard and to get to be in his presence this past weekend in Colorado and to be transiting through the 18 at the same time. It it was such a beautiful gift. I'm so honored and grateful I got to go and experience that, especially because the last sequence that I did was the Pearl sequence. It was the Pearl retreat. And obviously, we end our contemplation with our Pearl, and my Pearl being the 18. It was truly special. We flew to Colorado on the line as well. The 18.2 was when we flew. So it was such a sweet, sweet moment. And it's a powerful key. So something I will offer you to sit with and contemplate and continue to dive deeper into and um, notice where you hold tightly to your judgments, specifically of yourself. I found that through my life, this key being a big key for me, most of my judgments I held against others were judgments that I first held against myself, or standards that I held myself to that I then projected onto others. And as you can see, that's not wrong. Within the gift in the siddhi, it asks you to do so, but to do so lightly, to do so with heart, to do so with compassion. And I found lately, as I'm moving into a very discerning season for myself personally, I want to actually bring some of that back to me, that keen, precise awareness of what's right and what's wrong in my relationships of others that I see around me. I don't want to subdue that, numb that, and make it passive and go into the repressive nature. I want to notice it. I want to see it. I want to hold myself to a higher standard, and I want to lovingly and compassionately be able to share if necessary, or to move away if necessary, and navigate from that place instead of a place I used to be in, which was severe judgment of self and of others, and no one ever measured up. And then I moved into the pendulum of everyone measures up, everything is love, forgive everything, let everything slide, have no discernment, just like. So I want to sort of take both and come into the center in the middle and move forward in that direction and see how that serves me as I continue to contemplate my integrity and what I look like when I'm in my most highest version of integrity with myself and with others. So I hope this serves you. I love you so much. And I will definitely do a talk on Gene Key 48, which is the key that we have now moved into that we'll be in for about a week. So stay tuned for that. Love you.